So I keep on, I should stop this. We were at Valley Village today, just now. And what had happened was, I actually didn't see any Lego at first, but then right at the very end of the row of baggies of toys for the kids, I saw a few in that. I wasn't really going to get them. I really wasn't. But what I did see intrigued me enough to get them. And we had just a whole slew of coupons because we are emptying the house. We are taking lots of stuff to Valley Village. And we get the coupons. And so $10 a piece, 20% off, makes them $8 a piece, whatever. So it's not too shabby. And yeah, the interesting bits were in the bag. There's a rocket thruster there. I saw there's a Lego Duplo brick that says Lego on it. It's got some 4x4s with just a one string of studs. It's got some inverted, it's got some other things. It's got lots and lots of non-Lego. But it does have this thruster, this landing ski. Also has this arch. I always like this arch even though I don't build town too much. But what happens is I wasn't gonna get it because I said, I've sorted enough. But because of the thruster and other thing, and then like there was 3 bags there, and then this one has another rocket thruster, and there was a turntable in one of these. I don't see it now. A cone, 2x2x2 cone. So I'm thinking there's some classic space, maybe. So I got it. But the real interesting thing was this guy. And what had happened was I was oh, and this is old school, a 2x2 brick with Lego on it. So not only do I have a Duplo brick with Lego on it, I have a 2x2. But I was walking away from the toy area because they have a variety of whatever. And so lately I've been seeing HO tracks. So if you're an HO train guy, Valley Village might be a good place because I've seen cars there and engines there. And bags of track there. And I'm sure hobby stores still carry HO stuff. I think they do, but in the end, I don't have an HO set and or layout, and nor do I want one. but in a bag for the HO track and an engine, there was this piece, and I'm going, why is this piece in with the rest of that stuff? There was no tag on the bag. Other bags were tagged because they had other bags of track and stuff. But this one with the engine, it had no tag on it. Excuse me, getting late. And so I if it was cheap, I'm gonna buy it. Now the interesting thing about Valley Village is they handle things differently. Each one handles things differently. The one that we go to, if there's no tag in a bag, and you shouldn't remove them, that's the wrong thing to do. But if there's no tag in the bag, usually when you bring it up to the checkout and they ask for put a new tag on the bag, the tag that they put on there is invariably cheaper than the common bag that other bags that were there on the shelf. And clothes, like t-shirts and pants. Sandy and I go shopping and we find comfy pants, whatever, and they give you a temporary price tag for the thing that you're checking out, and invariably that's cheaper than what you saw on the shelves. And I think it's just because they want to get rid of it. so we don't mind the discount if there's no tag on the bag or the clothes or whatever. Don't remove them. That is wrong. Period. I won't talk to you. It's the wrong thing to do. But when I see something, and what happens, especially in the toy aisle, people start poking their fingers and the bag rips and it falls off because they got the tag also has the hole that puts on the little bars, the little hookies, and that rips off. And so when I saw this bag of train track, the tag was completely gone. It looked like it was ripped off. Probably was hanging on there, and it was heavy because there was an engine in there and train track. And so it was there, and I said, hey, I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna see what it's worth. And so I said, if it's worth, the rest of the bags were like $12.99 or whatever, and I don't want to buy an entire bag that I'm going to donate everything in the bag except for this guy back to Valley Village, because I don't need HO track and I don't need an engine. Although, again, pretty cool. So I took it out front, and we gave it to the girl. Hey, we don't have a tag on here. We don't know how much this is worth. Oh, give us a minute. And in the meantime, Sandy and I were checking out this stuff and some clothes and some other things that we got for camping and stuff. And then we finished all our stuff that we scanned through. The manager had not given us a new tag yet, what the bag was worth, and so we're waiting. And I can wait till the cows come home. I'm a very patient guy. I'm not like, you're wasting my time. I'm on my phone. I'm checking out the store. I'm looking around. I never want to rush other people overall, unless again I'm in a rush. But overall, they're busy. They know I'm waiting, and I don't have to keep on. I'm waiting, Karen. I don't need to be that guy. Now, if I'm waiting there for half an hour, I'm just going to check out and walk out the door, see if I. But waiting 3 to 4 minutes. Are you kidding? Life's too short to get your blood pressure up because you're waiting 3 to 4 minutes. And when I say life's too short, I get the irony of waiting. Well, life's too short. But why am I going to ruin somebody else's day? when I'm perfectly content, just sitting there, looking at my phone and talking to Sandy and we're talking about camping. Like, it's not like we're like just all waiting and nothing to talk about, nothing to do. We are talking about stuff, and we're doing things in our heads or talking and whatever. So there is a finite limit to that. I'm not going to wait half an hour for a tag for whatever this bag was worth. But I could see that the manager was busy dealing with something else. I got time for you, lady. No worries. No rush. Zero rush. So she finally comes over and she's all apologetic. She's, oh, I'm sorry you waited so long. And I'm thinking, I don't think it was 3 minutes. Since we finished our checkout of all the bags and clothes that we had, there was like maybe 3 to 4, because we gave the bag without the tag at the beginning. We gave it to the cashier. We were in the self-checkout, but there's a person there watching this. We gave it to the cashier. She couldn't give us a new tag, and she said, I have to give it to my manager. Go ahead. We're just going to check out and take our time. And Sandy and I, beep, 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 playing with the scan gun. Just having a great time. And shooting the breeze and whatever. And scan, beep, beep, beep. And then scan the clothes, beep, beep, beep. And then the bag wasn't back yet. So we're just sitting there at the shelf. And it was not a busy evening. There was like 8 self-checkouts, and only 3 were being used. So we're not like holding up the line with somebody else waiting to use our self-checkout. So there's nobody being impatient with us, waiting for us to finish. So again, that's part of me being, hey, nice and relaxed, put my feet up, put my hands behind, relax a little bit, let time flow by. Zen, namaste. Right? This is who I am. Like, and again, if nobody's waiting on me, because when somebody's waiting behind me, I get flustered. Straight up, if somebody's waiting to use my checkout or use when I'm filling up the gas tank and somebody's waiting, I get flustered. So I'm 55 and I still get flustered because I hate making other people wait. Because they probably got things to do. Me, whatever. Like, whatever. It's my whole life. Laissez-faire. So anyway, so she comes over and she's all apologetic. And she's, I'm sorry you waited so long, blah, blah. And I say, in my head, was not 3 to 4 minutes. I said, no worries. Like, we had, it's all good. So she was all apologetic, and she gives us the bag. And it was like $5.49. I'm going, do I want to fight this? Because again, usually the bags are $12.99 when they're that big. Because I know like these are $9.99, and that bag was bigger and it had an engine and track in it. But she put $5.49 on it, which has happened before. Because I think they just want to get rid of it. They don't want to put it back in the shelf. It's already here at the checkout. Get it out the door. They might have a policy for that. Just, put a lower price on it than what's normally out there just to get it out the door. Whatever. So I didn't fight it. I was thinking about it. I was honestly in my head, for all those who know who I am, because I like fighting for justice and truth and honesty and whatever. Like I didn't want to bring. I was thinking, do I bring up the fact that the other bags out there are $12.99 and you put $5.49 in this bag? But I didn't. I didn't fight it for a change. Taking the high ground, taking the low ground, taking the easy way out. Because basically what I did then is that while I'm at the checkout and while she is there, I rip out the bag a little bit, take this thing out, and I said, this is all I wanted. This is it. This is it. The rest of the stuff I'm donating back to you guys to put on the shelf. She goes, oh, really? Like you waited the entire time for this one piece of track? For me, yes. Of course, this is worth it for me. And there's a whole other story behind this. So she goes, oh, well, for that, I'm going to give you a coupon. Really, lady? You don't have to. Like, this is $5.49 to me. Like, this is as well worth the wait, well worth the whatever. $5.49, absolutely. And then you can put this back on the shelf for $12.99 or whatever you're going to put on it and sell it to somebody else. And so you make money twice off that one bag. So everybody's a winner. I like it when everybody wins. I am a big fan of when everybody wins. Doesn't happen all the time, and I don't expect it to happen all the time, but I like it when it does happen. And so she was very, very, oh, this is awesome. And she was just finished apologizing for delaying us. And then she was very, very hyper happy that I gave her the bag back without this piece in it, because now it's just pure train track and engine for HO scale, whatever. And she goes, I'm going to give you a certificate, sure, or a discount card, whatever. So we took that, 20%. We actually got, too, because we dropped off stuff, got our discount card, which I already had for my wallet, because we drop off there all the time. And sometimes there's nothing to buy, so the discount card stays in the wallet. So now I have like 4 discount cards in the wallet. And now I have 5 because she gave us one. Anyway, so everybody was happy. She was happy. I'm ecstatically happy that I got this. $5.49 plus the 20% discount, whatever that is. And so I don't know how much these things go for on Bricklink. I don't keep track of what this piece goes for on Bricklink, but in my long time ago, a galaxy far, far away, in my youth, I never got a train set for a Christmas present, even though train sets were available in the early to mid 70s, obviously with this color rail. I remember seeing them in the brochures, even the white and blue track, the white ties and the blue track. But the gray track came out, 4.5 volt motor came out, and I started getting this stuff, as I say, for, when I was buying friends lots for beer money, whatever, and the ad in the paper. So I started acquiring old gray rails and blue rails, lots of blue rails. I have a whole bin that I might do a video on someday. So, but I wasn't using it when I hit I had a little layout in my house at one point when I was a teenager, like a little one, because I had enough track for it and some train. But it wasn't as cool as the classic space, because nothing is. So it basically stayed in a box until RTL Toronto train shows. And then when we were doing train shows, yes, we were using 9-volt rails across the board, but I built the maintenance shed, I built the maintenance trains, I built the maintenance vehicles, I built the maintenance consists. And so I used the old gray rails that came in this train set, these lots that I have lots of, and I built, bundles of train track that looked like it was on the side of the rail lines for repair and stuff like that. So that's what I was using these rails for, not the switches, obviously. But I also had switches. I had like four or six sets of, 4 or 6 switches, 2 or 3 sets left and right of gray and dark gray switches. And that was really, really good. And this is my, I guess it's my naivete and my honestly nice guy-ishness. What had happened was, after one of our earlier train shows, where people came up to us, I don't know if it was RTL 2, Train 2 or whatever, but people were coming up to us. And, oh, you got because you can see my vehicles with the old gray rails on it. Oh, you got some of those old stuff because we're using them. Hey, absolutely. And then, I think that's cool. And then he goes, and I said, well, look at my YouTube channel, because I got, my YouTube channel. so he looks me up on YouTube a couple days later after the show, and he starts emailing me. And I said, this guy seems nice. Seems like he wants to be part of RTL Toronto. He's giving off all the correct vibes. He seems enthusiastic. Blah blah blah, and it continues. It continues on for a good couple of weeks, sporadically emailing back and forth and talking about our collections and blah blah blah. And a couple months goes by, and I think we actually did another train show that he came to, and we're, oh, hey dude, how's it going? We said, shoot the breeze. So, and again, after that, he's emailing me and whatever. And he says, oh, by the way, Dave, I'm looking to see if, because I have an old train set that I'd like to display or whatever. It'd be really cool to complete it. Do you happen to have some of these? And I'm going, yeah. That's what I said. I said to you guys all the time, yeah, I happen to have it, and I ain't using them. I was thinking, I always say this, I do this all the time. I think about doing something with these cool things that I have in my collection. I just never get there because I'm so busy right now with Classic Space. There are so many things I want to do with my RCX collection. There are so many things I want to do with my RCX and my SEQs and even the original gear sets and all that stuff. I have so many ideas in this noggin of mine that I want to do with the cool old Legos, cool Lego. That's me. I love old Lego. I have so many ideas. Even I had ideas with this. So I said, oh, yeah, not a problem. Here's my address. And what I usually said back then is don't even worry about payment, because this thing's just taking up space in my room, and you're gonna not necessarily reciprocate with me, but you're gonna show up at shows. You're gonna do stuff with RTL. He wasn't part of RTL Toronto. I want to be perfectly clear about that. He never came to an RTL meeting. He contacted me from the first, our second train show, but our first train show that I met him at. He was emailing me sporadically, and then he was at the second show, all enthusiastic, and hey, Dave, and then he's like, hey, and so I say, I give him my address. He comes over here. And this is before this is before Joshua. We didn't have the wall here, the entire basement with Lego, and I have my little layout in the house, blah, blah, blah. Because I did have a train layout in the house. Not a space layout in this basement. I had a train layout, actually, 2 different train layouts with those old modules, the PTL, TNC, whatever, the old 3 modules, 3 base plates by 3 plates. Anyway, I had that in my basement, and he's like, oh, this is nice, Dave, this is nice, thanks. And he was being very cordial and very, and then he says, oh, yeah, let's talk about this. So I give him my sets, because I ain't using them. I'm not. I wasn't using them at the time. And hey, dude, yeah, I'll see you at RTL Toronto, blah, blah. Yeah, not a problem. I'll talk to you. Yeah, Dave, yeah. Ghosted me. Ghosted RTL Toronto. Never heard from him again. Not once. Absolutely not once. Now, again, I don't take it personally. I mean, I don't lose sleep over it. It's like, well, sure. I just, sometimes I'm honestly too nice. Because again, I don't know how much these things go for on Bricklink, but I'm sure it's not 0. I never bothered looking it up. Now I don't want to look it up. But I gave him my sets. I gave it to him because he wanted to complete his set. And he was enthusiastic, and he said all the right things, and he seemed to be very, very passionate about doing RTL Toronto stuff. Never showed up. And so I get the feeling of retroactively looking at it, he was setting me up. He was one of these I won't say shyster. Yeah, I will say shyster. He's one of these guys that knows how to get something from nice people and uses them, says all the right things. There was not one bit of suspicion. But I'm looking at it now, back then, this happened 15 years ago. When I look at it, when I gave it a sober second thought after that, right after, like he ghosted us, especially me. Because I went to RTL Toronto. Hey guys, there's a guy that we was at the last train show. He seems enthusiastic. He wants to do a train show. He wants to, and I'm waiting for him to I told him about the dinners and whatever, and he never showed. I mean, it something could have befell him. A rock could have fell on his head. But whatever. My whole point is that for 3 or 4 months he was pinging me. Talking, hey Dave, you're great stuff, and then blah blah, and then all of a sudden I give him what he wanted from the beginning, because he was putting down ideas from the beginning that, oh, I'm trying to complete sets and blah blah blah, and the train especially, the older, and all of a sudden I give him this stuff and boom, he's gone. It's like, and again, I actually hadn't even thought about that incident until I saw this today. I hadn't thought about that in 10 years. because you know, I have stories. I have lots of stories about lots of things, but maybe I purposely forgot. Life goes on. I honestly put that in the back of my head and completely forgot about it. Every once in a while, when I go into the in the train routes, I remember it. Oh yeah, this happened, and then forget about it again. But today I found this, and that's the very first thing I saw was that guy who came into my basement, grabbed these things, headed out the door, and never saw me again. It's like, whatever. And again, some people would dwell on that and fester on that and let that negative and black energy, not that I'm one of those people, but the black energy fester and rot their soul. Overall, I don't care. Overall, it's a story now. You know, I love my stories. It is what it is, and I don't have the time or the wherewithal or the energy to put into how other people want to manipulate people. I'm just going to be more cautious going forward. And I mentioned that in one of those videos that I just made recently about the stickers for the bricks for the 918 924. That my first set went out, and within a week I started getting responses from the people I sent them to, and they were just enthusiastic, and I sent out to my next set. And so this is always on my mind, right? What happened with this guy? And so and people say, what do you mean you send them the bricks before they pay you? I said, I don't want the issues. They pay me to think it's lost in the mail. They have a negative thought about me. Maybe I didn't send it, right? I don't want that. I'd rather have them receive it. And it's like $5. Like, oh, wow, whole $5. Like, oh, I'm not saying it's chump change. And if you did 50 of them, then it adds up. Like every dollar adds up. But I was concerned, first of all, this is a multi-tiered concern, that the stuff wasn't getting to them. Because again, when I went to the post office twice now, the first set and the second set, the post office says, oh, these are bubble envelopes. They should go parcel, but we will put paperwork on them, and therefore it's 3 times cheaper to mail them. But some carriers will balk at that and send it back. And therefore, they won't get them unless you pay carrier charges, like a package instead of envelope. And I'm going, oh, for the love of everything. And I didn't want this thing to be like breaking people's banks, right? I didn't want those 924s and then 918s breaking people's banks. Like, I'm already charging you $5 for 4 bricks. Like 4 bricks, $5. Like, oh my, that's a lot of money. And therefore, I didn't want to put a lot of shipping on top of that, which is like, I think it's $1.90 to Canada and $3 something to the States, and $6 to go across the pond for an envelope with paper in it. That's what they said it was. For shipping a parcel, you're basically tripling or doubling, at least I think the US was $12.99 for shipping instead of like $3. So it's like, I don't want you guys to pay that. Like, well, no, I don't want you to pay that. And the thing is, it's a little tiny, very, very tiny bubble envelope. It's 4 bricks. It's nothing, right? And so I cannot justify the huge expense, $18 to go across the pond. I can't justify that huge expense for 4 bricks that you're paying $5 for. Why is your shipping 3 times as much as the bricks? And so this is why I don't have a BrickLink store. Somebody asked about it today. Do I have a BrickLink store? No, I do not. Maybe I'll start, but as I'm easing into this with these numbered bricks. So that's layer 1 of my multifaceted issues in my head. Again, overthink everything. It's my problem. Again, guilty, should have been Catholic, whatever. You've been here long enough to know my stories. So the biggest part in my head for shipping out those bricks is that you guys aren't getting them, and then I'm gonna have to send you new bricks and pay full freight, like the highest shipping charges, and then even talk about putting tracking on it, which is just a huge overhead for shipping you guys 4 bricks. And I didn't want to do that. So the first time I waited a week, and then I started getting responses. I was like, oh, relief. The second time I went, the kid was a little less, not reputable, a little less on the ball, shall we say, when I gave him this stuff. It was the same cost, which was fine. But he was like, "Oh, do I do this? Do I do this?" And I'm going, "Oh, you're not instilling." The guy behind the counter was not instilling me with a lot of confidence, straight up. And so, but here's 7 envelopes, 2 to Canada, 5 to the States, whatever, or 4 to the States, doesn't matter. And I paid like $20 for shipping for all of it, which is a score, right? So again, I'm out $20. I'm not out any money, physical money, because I didn't buy the bricks. And I certainly didn't buy, I might have bought the vinyl years ago for the cricket, but it's not like I spent money specifically for the cricket. The envelopes, Sandy worked it out from the dollar store. It's like pittance a piece. So the labor and blah, 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 who cares? So I sent out the second, and a whole week goes by, and I hear nothing back from anybody. I'm going, yeah, maybe the kid missed it, whatever. And I do have a self-addressed return address on the envelope. So if the Ma Canada Post wants to send it back to me for insufficient postage, it should come back to me. My experience, again, from decades ago with that issue, because I used to have pen pals, and I send them a letter, and sometimes I misaddress it or whatever, put a wrong stamp on it, whatever. It would get back to me eventually, which is like months later. I sent my buddy Tim was doing a project, a church project, a surf project in Mexico or something years and years ago, and I was working my first job in 1990, my first real job in the mid 90s, and I used to sit there at my desk, on phones with customers, whatever, ordering and type. But I used to have a pad, and I used to say, "Hey Tim, I hope you're doing well," and I would write an epic. It's just like these videos, like a tangential filled epic about, because he's a good friend of mine, and so he knows all my little jokes and my little quirks, and so it was like 10 pages, double-sided, Dave's crappy handwriting, and I would fold it up and I put it in the envelope, and I would get it through the machine at the business office that I worked at, and pay the girl there the money that the postage meter said, and they would put it in the envelope. They would put it, but I would put my return, my home address on the return, not the work. so and occasionally I would get a call or an email back from Tim saying, "Oh, I got your letter." And there was one time I wrote out a beautiful story and whatever, and it was 10 pages. I put it in the envelope, and I put it on, and then I waited, and usually it's about a week before I got to him, and he didn't get it, and he didn't get it, and he didn't get it, and he was out there for the entire summer. He didn't get it, and he comes back from his mission trip. And he didn't get my letter. I go, whatever. I go, forget about it, right? And then Christmas comes around. So in my mailbox is the letter that I sent him. And so the returning of an envelope that didn't get to its destination, hit or miss whether it even gets back, but when it does get back, it's months after the fact. So I was not comfortable until today for my second set. And so far, 2 people out of the 7 have received them, and they've paid. And now I'm happy again. So, the wonder that is my mind. Don't even ask. I've lived in this mind for 55 years. It's something to. It's not something to behold, I'll tell you that. But it's something that is very, very. I overthink everything, straight up, I do, and I've known that. I'm also laissez-faire, which contradicts the overthinking everything, because I will just sometimes fly by the seat of my pants and throw stuff against the wall to see what sticks. That's also right in my wheelhouse. You do not want to watch me do IT, especially when it comes to if the whole situation's on fire and you have to get a quick fix immediately. Do not watch what I do because I will get it working. A really, really quick tangent. We were migrating our entire head office to a new network for our new company. So dumping the old network infrastructure for new infrastructure. And so that's everything. It's APs, printers, the desktops, servers, phone system, VoIP phone system, like the entire works. The main building, our head office that housed like 40 people, had to be migrated, and basically had to be migrated overnight, because we couldn't have a downtime. That came down from management. So during business hours, we couldn't have a downtime. So I showed up at work on a Tuesday at 8 o'clock in the morning, getting ready for the day and to prep for the rollover, the changeover, the migration to the new networks. And we have multiple VLANs for, you don't have to know all the technical stuff, but we use a multi-VLAN approach to everything. And so what happened was that during that day, not only answering service calls, whatever, but I was getting ready for 4:30. And I sent out an email to everybody like a week in advance. I said, Tuesday night, because people like working late. I can't figure that out. Actually, I work late a lot. I used to a lot, but I said Tuesday night at 4:30, everybody has to be out the door. As business hours are over, I'm shutting down the entire network. And some people, I said, you can work from home. You can work. You've done it. You know how to do it. Work from home. I'm just shutting down this building. So everybody was okay with it. Most people are happy about it. They've giving him an excuse to get out of the building at 4:30. So at 4:30, everybody but me left the building. And so I start the migration, and I the specific details we don't have to go into. It's all technical. But it's about 4 o'clock in the morning. So I've been even repatching cables, good times, and tracing and APs and servers and stuff. I get to the point where basically everything except for the phone system is done. Everything, but the phone system is going to be the most complicated. So I start with the phone system, and I already scheduled with the vendors that gave us the phone system that this is what I'm going to be doing, and have some emergency contacts on site. And because you have to do this, and they gave me a whole 100-page document and what I have to do and blah blah blah. And overall, most of it came back up in the new networks and blah blah. Anyway, 3 o'clock in the morning, something's not working in the phone system. People are going to start showing up at 7 o'clock in the morning. That's like 4 hours from now. And I'm on the phone with Bell. Bell Canada, Ma Bell. Because it was our phone system's not theirs, but the phone lines coming into the building are theirs, and they have to point them somewhere and blah, blah. So I'm on the phone with Bell 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and I called the number, the tech support number, and I got somebody, and I explained to him the situation and what was not working. And again, no specifics, but if this isn't working, not my department, sir. I'll transfer you over to who you need to talk to. And again, at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, they have a skeleton crew in all departments. And what happened was, you're on hold for 30 minutes, 20 minutes sometimes 5, but overall between 20 and 30 minutes. And then this guy picks up, not my department. After I explain everything to him, I get you to the department, blah, blah. 7 hops from 3 o'clock in the morning, where now it's like getting closer to 6 in the morning. The sun's coming up. I've been awake now since 8 o'clock. Well, I was at work at 8 o'clock. I was awake since 7 o'clock the morning before. It's now getting close to 24 hours. And I finally get down to the one person who says, oh, yeah, you have to create a ticket for that. No, there is no ticket for that. Well, we'll have somebody call you back into 24 to 40 hours. Nope. Completely unacceptable. I checked with our rep before I got here. The whole thing was planned that if I have an issue, I call this number and somebody will help me. Oh, that's not how we do it. Doesn't matter, dude. Find somebody right now. And I'm more professional than I am right now because I am more professional at work, by the way. Slightly less tangents. But I said that you are not going to hang up on me, and we're going to find somebody there who can help me with this. There's going to be no tickets. I can't wait 24 to 48. The system's not working as it is, and you need to basically throw a switch. Basically repoint, type in an IP address. That's all that has to be done right now. And it took me 3 hours on the phone to get to you. So find the guy. If you can't do it, you're the skeleton crew that has, tier 1 access, and you need tier 3 access. Get that guy out of bed. I don't care. And so I'll put you on hold for whatever, and then again listen to whole music for 20 minutes. Guy comes back on, somebody else. Oh, click, boom. All of a sudden, my phone starts ringing like I'm talking on my cell phone. The landlines are working. I said, That took 3-4 hours. But again, I'm persistent. So this is the varied complexity of the wonder that is Dave. I'm a dog with a bone when it comes to IT and when it comes to some of this stuff. I will pursue until it's done. And that's why my boss likes me. I will take, if you have a situation, an IT situation that nobody else seems to be able to, or they just give up on or whatever, I'm going to pursue it until either it's gone or it's fixed. Either way, I'm going to keep on pursuing it until it's done. And I pursue it politely and professionally and whatever. But I usually do not take, oh, sorry, we're going to have to, an emergency situation. Oh, it's a ticket and 24 to 48 response time. Because I know Bell, when they say 24 to 48, is 7 days. So, and I said, we can't, the main office cannot be down for 7 days. And we had scheduled the whole thing. All the vendors were in line and everybody was in line. And overall, I didn't have to call anybody until 3 o'clock in the morning. Because I'm smart enough in IT to do what I needed to do and change IP addresses and change routing and blah, blah. So anyway, so Ma Bell fixes it at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, actually, it's after that, 7 o'clock in the morning. People start coming to the office. The phone system just got up, and I'm testing it. I'm honestly testing it. And so people start showing up at 7 o'clock. I'm sitting there. I'm done now. The rollout is done. But I'm going to be in the office until I get the sign off from the users in the building. Again, I understand this. Even though I've been awake more than 24 hours now, I can't leave the building until I know people are working. And so 8:30 is our basic startup time for everybody. People show up early, but it's basic 8:30. And then 9 o'clock, the network is being very, very, very temperamental. And I call up my network department, and because I got people behind me. I always like to have people behind me, because I said I did everything right. The issue, well, that's bad. The issue is, in this new environment, I did not have access to, again, not to get technical, but there's a thing called a core switch. And the core switches were still running the old systems, and I was unable to use them. So I promoted a temporary core switch that was an older model. And so it didn't have the buffer set up correctly. And I didn't even think about it because I never worked with buffers on switches before. Like, buffers were like, it's a switch. That's what it is. It just routes traffic. But he says, oh, it's set at 50 and it has to be 300. Whatever. type, enter. Pff, that works perfect. So that was at 9 o'clock in the morning. 10 o'clock in the morning goes by. I'm still verifying with everybody that they're working, that they have access to everything they need to access throughout the world, blah, blah. 11 o'clock, I walk into my boss's office, and I say to my boss, my direct report, I say, it's done. You gave me this task. It is now done. I'm going to go home. I've been awake for 28 hours now. I am done. He says, perfect. And I sent out an email. I sent out an email to all the, not the word influencer, all the people that needed to be notified. This is done. And I gave a list. I already had prepared earlier. What happened? What's been changed? What's the same? Blah blah. It's just so they know. Because if I'm not in the building, so I sent off that list. But this part of the project is done. 11 o'clock in the morning, and I'm heading out the door. And my cell phone rings. It's my boss's boss, and he has scheduled a conference call at 4 o'clock that afternoon. And I'm going, why? Well, you've done this part, he says, like, because again, there's a whole flow chart. There's a whole listing of things that have to happen. All your ducks are in a row. So we did this part. That took me 28 hours. Would have taken everybody else a week. Guaranteed. I've been told this. I've been told by the infrastructure people, by whatever, that project that I did in 28 hours was 4:30 to whatever, should have been a week. Should have been a week. I said, we don't have a week. I'm Scotty. We don't have a week. I'll do it for you and whatever. So he goes, but you got the checkbox now. So he's got a list of things that have to be done in order. There's that check for the network infrastructure of the main office. Check. This is the very next line, and we have to get working on that. Now that this part's done, and I got a conference call at 4 o'clock to discuss it with all the people that are involved. And I'm going, and he knew this. I said, because he was one of the people that got the emails. He knew that I was just in the building for 28 hours in a row. And he scheduled a conference call for the very next step 4 hours later. And I'm going, I'm going home. Oh, Dave, but you're needed on this call. Then have it tomorrow. Oh, no, we got to get this done. We got to get this done. Dude, this is where I have a tough time. This is honestly where I have a tough time with, again, this is why I'm 55 and still just a tech support analyst. I can't manage. I do not want to manage. I never wanted to manage, but I can't understand. This is almost malfeasance. Dude, I've been in your building, my building, for 28 hours in a row. I showed up yesterday morning at 8:30 in the morning, and I've been here, and now it's noon the next day. I've been awake and migrated the entire network that any other person said was going to take a week. I did it for you between the hours of 4:30 and 7:30, 4:30 p.m. to 7:30 a.m. Got it done for you. And I stayed along to verify that it was working, and there was a little tiny hiccup. We got it fixed immediately. Now it's working 100%. I'm going home. No, you have to be in this call. You can have the call. I'm not going to be on it. Fire me. I didn't say this. I was, again, a lot more professional. But fire me. Write me up. 35 years of doing this. There is stuff in my HR manual. Because when it comes to that kind of stuff, unless you fire me, I put whatever you want in my HR later. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. It stops you from getting a promotion. Does it look like I want to promote? I've been doing this job for 35 years. Does it look like I want a promotion? Promotions, the only way to going up is management. That is it. That's like where I'm already tier 3 on tech support, and that's it. Like any senior tech support analyst, yeah, the title bump. I love my job. I love doing IT. I've been doing IT since high school and fixing the Commodore PET computers. I love fixing things. I love building networks. I love building server racks and designing server racks. I love infrastructure. The only place I'm actually 100% OCD on is my network infrastructure. I create all my physical diagrams, my topological, logical. I get them all set up. Everything's consistent. All the ports are allocated the same, so it's consistent across switches, naming conventions, all of it. It has to be, because if I disappear tomorrow, if I decide F you and I'm staying home, that somebody has to, and this is my guilt. If I'm not in the building and something goes wrong, somebody else has to be able. I got tons of paperwork. I make the documentation. I make the flow charts, the network diagrams, everything, and I actually have a floor plan showing where all the nodes are. And even now with the alerting, I have the nodes are what the alerts are on all the different nodes. This is what I do for a living, and I take personal pride in the fact that nobody's irreplaceable. 100%. Nobody's irreplaceable. What I want for me is that if I am replaced, that the next person coming along doesn't face the same idiocy that, the polite way of putting it, that every network I walked into prior to me being there shows me. Like, they have no consideration for a stranger walking in that has to now maintain this. No consideration at all. None. And it drives me nuts, because usually when I walk into a situation, it's an emergency situation. This isn't working. It's not working. What are we gonna do? Where's your documentation? We don't have any. What? You don't have any documentation at all? Yeah, Joe is maintaining this. He's my nephew from my brother's side. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you're a multinational organization, and you got your nephew, your brother's nephew, maintaining this. Like, what? Anyway, I'm not gonna go off on it. I've already gone off on a tangent about work, but as I say, I am very comfortable in my own skin, straight up, and I love talking about stuff that otherwise make other people uncomfortable. I don't lose sleep over any of this, by the way. I sleep soundly, as my wife will tell me. but I like stories. I love venting. I love regaling people with I have a friend, my buddy, my very close friend. He's an IT too. He's a manager now. We get together sporadically and we will talk for 3, 4, 5 hours in a row about the malfeasance of management or whatever we're going to talk about. We love it. We absolutely love it. What did Drew Carey used to say? So you hate your job, eh? Well, so does everybody else, or whatever he used to say. I don't hate my job. I adore my job. I love IT. I love the entire infrastructure idea of IT. I do it all from, my mouse isn't working. My mouse isn't working. Is it plugged in? to network configurations and rollouts and stuff like that. I used to spool up servers, not so much anymore because I have my counterpart that does most of the server work now. But I am more of the network infrastructure. But again, duties is assigned, including, oh, my mouse isn't working, or like I did last week for a day, I drove to Sudbury to grab a photocopier. Dave is now a delivery service. In my little van, a full-size photocopier. Again, normally in any other context, we have vendors for that. But in this case, just like we had vendors to do the network migration, the entire building. If we, the vendors gave us POs and quotations to do the actual work that I did overnight. They gave us, they said, but you're dealing with multiple vendors, and they said, oh, this is going to be a couple days, and that's going to be a couple days from this vendor, and that has to happen before this has, again, juggling, right? Logistics. And I said, if one person's doing it, it's systematic. This is what we do first, second, third, fourth. I had the whole thing mapped out because that's what I do. And it was easier for the company, for one person to do all of it than this vendor. Because again, what you're going to do is if something goes awry, and I've been here so many times when you're working with multiple vendors across multiple organizations. Oh, this isn't working. Oh, that's not us. What we were responsible for in our SOW's service of work does not encompass that, and therefore don't talk to us. Go talk to somebody else. And then you talk to the other vendor. Oh, it's not us. That's why I always hated companies that I worked for previously that outsourced desktop support to this company and server support to that company and network support to that company and even cell phones to that company, and like you're dealing with 6 different companies. You're dealing with 6 different companies, and when you have a user coming up to you and saying, I can't get access to X, Y, or Z, whatever it is, their SAP software or whatever ERP system they're using, I can't do this, and then I look at it and I go, oh, that's server. That's 100% server, because I got enough experience to say whether or not server. Sometimes I've been wrong straight up, but that's server. So I'll call up the vendor for the server. Oh, that's not us. No, that's a desktop issue. It's not a desktop issue, dude. I checked it out. The desktop is fine. The software, the client is fine. When I point to the other thing, it works. Oh, no, it doesn't matter. It's a desktop thing. They invariably 95% of the time push back after your first phone call, and then you have to, because they're vendors. They're not employed by the company. They're vendors, and they're going to get paid whether they're saying yes or no. And so they'll push back the first time, and they'll say, no, check with your desktop team. So now I'm talking to the desktop team, and the desktop team, not us. Like, I've worked for companies that they outsource desktop support. You're a outsource desktop support? Like, I can see a small mom and pop doing that because they can't afford a full-time IT. I'm going off in so many tangents about work right now. I'm on vacation right now. So that's probably why I'm talking about it. In the end, there's not too many things now that surprise me at all. I've done, when it comes to IT, I've done almost everything. And I'm happy to work with professionals who want to work and work in the same direction. As I say, walk in the same direction, where I get along fantastically with those vendors and IT people who know when something's an issue and they focus on it with me to get it done. The ones I do not work well with are the ones who demean or degrade or fluff off frivolous ideas of my knowledge. Not necessarily, I no ego, but when I say this is where the issue is, and they've worked with me all this time, they know I know what I'm talking about. They say no, something else, and then I have to waste my time, spin my wheels talking to the other vendors to get that in writing that everything's working over there, and go back to this vendor and say, there you go, thank you for wasting my morning. And, oh yeah, it is us. And then they go flick a switch or whatever. That's 95% of the fix. Honestly, it's 95% of the fix is that I prove to them it is theirs. They go away, in half an hour they come back. Yeah, we got it fixed. You could have done that 4.5 hours ago when I told you about it. You could have done it 4.5 hours, but you made me, because you're a vendor and you get paid much more than I do, you made me do all the background work for you to prove that it is you, so go fix it. I've worked with companies that outsource everything, and I've worked with companies that have everything in-house. They have their own programmers in-house for their own self-made programs, in-house programming. There's a balance. Anyway, nobody needs to know about my IT job. This is fine. Glad I got it. I'm gonna start sorting these pieces out now. I've had a good day today. I had a whole bunch of Galaxy Explorers out here, which made me very, very happy. And I got to spend some time with my beautiful wife because it's our anniversary week. We will be married 16 years. Coming up. So it's, if somebody told me in my 20s and 30s and part of my 40s that I was going to be married for 16 years, I would have, what? What are you talking about? So that's a whole other story. Don't need to go on that tangent right now. I'm going to do some sorting, and then I'm going to go upstairs and hang out with my wife. So everybody out there, stay safe, take care, and thumbs up. That's my new thing. I don't know if that's gonna keep on going. Got this piece. So, anywho, you guys all stay safe, take care, and I will talk to you soon.